Helen,
And I'm Liz,
and we're sisters
scientists,
and lifelong X-Files fans.
and this is We Want to Believe.
All right, welcome back. How's it going?
All right. I am prepared to hear about One Breath.
Yeah.
I do have a quick update. As some people may have seen, I did a poll on my hair color, and everyone said I was brunette, except
Okay.
one person who said I had black hair.
Okay. Was it Adam?
It was not.
Okay.
He does not have an Instagram account. And one person who said I had red hair. So
Oh,
all I can think is that maybe that was a mishit of button, because I really don't. I mean, maybe there's chestnut tones
yeah, there
that
is.
could read as, I don't know. But nearly everyone said brown hair. I will also say, you'll recall that my theory last week was that maybe Adam thinks of my hair as black because he is so very blonde that
Right.
all
Mhm.
dark hair seems black. However, I was talking to my coworker Gokul, and Gokul has actual black hair,
Uh-huh.
no doubt. And I said, "What color do you think my hair is?" And he said, "Black."
Oh.
And I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Um, so for what it's worth,
Okay. Hmm.
that is a strike against the blonde hair theory.
Interesting.
Um, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
What was the
Yeah.
percentage?
Not that many people voted. I think
Oh,
9 people voted, and 7 of them, so like, yeah,
okay.
78% of them, yeah, thought I had brown hair. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Um,
Yeah, just keeping everybody up to date on my hair
yeah.
color.
Important. I mean, it
Yeah,
has changed a lot over the years. The
it
color.
has.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe like I can't. Did you have a picture of yourself along with the poll? I can't remember.
Yeah, I took it
Oh, okay.
yesterday. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Because I didn't know if someone was like, "Well, your hair was blue last time I saw you," so
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about One Breath.
Yes.
Very good episode. Um, and so if you recall, the last episode was 3, and it's bad.
Yes.
And so really we only had one episode of Scully being gone. I didn't realize that it was that fast.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah. Um, so okay, so it opens with Scully's mom telling a story of Scully being young and playing in the woods a lot, that apparently she was the tomboy. And
Oh, yes.
are you
Sorry.
recalling this?
Does something die?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But it's there's another story with her being young and something else dying, but that's a different one.
okay.
Um,
God.
yeah. So her brothers were showing her how to use a BB gun,
Yes.
and Bill
Oh
Jr.
no. Is this gonna make me too sad?
Uh, maybe.
Okay, let's just give a very succinct summary of this part. She shoots an animal and it dies?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
And it's a snake.
a snake.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Wait,
she,
did you say her brothers, plural?
yeah, and that was another interesting part because I don't think we ever hear anything about another brother.
No, I thought it was one brother and one sister.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's that other one they don't like very much. I don't know.
Maybe he's been like cast out of the family,
Yeah.
like we had that in our family a few generations ago. Not
Oh,
our generation, but yeah, our third sister we don't talk about. No, no, several generations ago,
yeah.
somebody who moved in with a boyfriend before she was married, and then nobody
Yes.
spoke to her. So,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Very scandalous.
yes,
So she was very upset then. She like
yes,
immediately realized the consequences and was very upset.
yeah.
Um, and so then it shows that it's Mulder and her mom that are talking.
Hmm.
And he says that it's too soon to give up. And she says that at that moment where, her and Mulder talking, she knows how her daughter felt when she killed the snake. And I don't get that at all. I feel like that's a pretty poor analogy.
It
Um,
makes me think like, I know Mrs. Scully wasn't in league with Dwayne Barry, but that sure
right.
implies that she was, or something like,
Yeah.
and Like,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't, I
Yeah.
also feel like Scully and that snake probably did not have like a mother-daughter bond.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
It's all sorts of weird. That
Yeah.
does not make sense to me at all.
So then someone walks in and it shows that he's bringing in a headstone. And so it's
Oh
Scully's
God.
headstone and it
Yeah.
says 1964 to 1994. So she was apparently supposed to be 30.
Okay. And I
Um,
know Gillian Anderson was younger. I think she was
right.
only like 24, 25 or something at that point. But
Yeah, and that's confused me at first. I had to like stop and think about that because I thought I remembered her being younger, but
yeah.
it's Gillian Anderson who was.
Yeah.
So then we have the intro, and then it shows Mulder at home, possibly watching porn based on the sounds coming from his TV.
Mulder.
And his phone rings. And it's then it shows him running through a hospital hallway. It was
Oh.
Northeastern Georgetown Medical Center,
Oh.
and Scully is there
Oh my
in the
God.
hospital bed, all hooked up to machines.
Yeah.
So Mulder is pissed and starts yelling at the doctor, wanting to know how she got there.
Wait, they don't know? They didn't tell him?
No, they don't know.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I did not remember that. I was waiting for you to explain where she was found, and I pictured her maybe in the woods. Okay.
Nope, they don't know.
Okay. So can you imagine you work in a hospital and you're just like, I don't know, we got that one patient.
No, I mean,
She was just there one day.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not how hospitals work.
That's not my understanding of them.
Yeah. And so he's like yelling at the doctor and insisting knowing how she got there. And eventually security takes him out.
Okay.
But then it shows that he's back in a room with the doctor and Scully's mom and is calm at this point.
Okay.
And the doctor says that she's in a coma and he doesn't know how she got there and doesn't know why she's like that because otherwise she's fine. So she's in some sort of coma state.
It's
But
like a very heavy nap, a light to no coma.
it's an Arrested Development reference.
Yes. Again,
one.
if you haven't seen Arrested Development,
You
just
should.
turn off our podcast, go watch it, then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first 3 seasons.
The first 3 seasons, we don't
yeah.
even talk about 4 and 5. No.
It's not worth it.
Mm-mm.
And so Mulder says, well, can we examine her for trace evidence? And no, apparently they've already bathed and cleaned her since she was there. So they can't examine her for trace evidence, which I don't know if they're implying that she was already bathed and clean when she mysteriously appeared or if the hospital did it. Because if the hospital did it, that's real dumb.
I mean, like, yeah, I just have so many questions about this hospital's procedures.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to go, Georgetown. Yeah.
Like, are we to think she appeared in a hospital room? I'm sorry I'm obsessing about this. Or like, I understand if it's like she was just dropped off at the ER and we found her in the street. That I get. What I don't get is like a nurse being like, oh, I see we have a new patient in room 231. And the doctor being like, oh, do we? I didn't put her there. And maybe it was other doctor. Nope. Huh. Oh, well, like,
I don't know.
There's no security footage. Okay. All right.
No, I have no
Okay.
answers.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to let it go.
We can, if you'd like, we can assume that she was suddenly in the ER.
Okay.
And they admitted her.
Just so I can
move on.
Okay. Yeah. Emotionally.
So they're talking, and her living will states that she doesn't want to live in that condition. And Mulder knows this because apparently he signed the will as her witness.
What do you know about comas?
Not
Much?
a lot. No, I mean, I know that there's a decrease in brain activity. That sometimes the body is able to breathe and regulate heartbeat on its own, sometimes not, depending on how severe some sort of damage is.
Like, what is a coma? How is it different than sleep, ultimately?
So my understanding is that it has to do with whether or not you can be roused from the unconsciousness. So like when you're asleep, you can be woken up, right?
Huh. Okay. All right.
No?
Keep talking. Yeah, but
Oh,
I want to remind you of a scenario in our past and discuss comas.
no, you're gonna have to tell me now because that's
All
too,
right. All right. Do you remember when I think it was my 18th birthday? I was a freshman.
oh,
There was that guy, Jeff, that I was like kind of
yes,
sort of dating a little bit.
yes.
He
And he
was
fell
staying
asleep on our mom's kitchen floor.
hardwood floor in the living room.
Right. And he had
Hardwood floor.
not been drinking, not
No,
been,
nope. No drinking, no drugs. My friend's band played.
oh my
It
God, while
was
he was sleeping?
uh I think he may have fallen asleep during it. I'm not sure if that, but it was just like a normal evening. The band played, then we watched TV, and then he lived in Chicago, and it was like an hour and a half. So the plan was for him to stay in a guest room at my mom's house. And he was asleep with no pillow on his back on the hardwood floor. And we could not successfully wake him up at first. And I don't think he was lying or something. To
Yeah,
what end?
right. What
Yeah,
happened? What did he say when you woke him up? Like, what was his?
not a whole lot. I mean, he was just
Okay.
like, okay. Like you've
Yeah.
just been woken up. Yeah. Like, was he in?
How hard did you try? Like, how hard did you?
I mean, I remember shaking his shoulder and being like, Jeff. Like,
Wow.
yeah. And I mean,
Whoa.
like, it was loud in the room. I know someone else was involved, like
Yeah.
trying to help me.
Yeah.
I don't remember it
I vaguely
super well,
remember
though.
this as
Yeah. I
well.
mean, you might have been there. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Huh.
again, it wasn't super late at night either.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super weird.
Yeah. Was he in a coma?
No. I mean, no, probably not. So there's I mean, people can also just be like unconscious,
Yeah. Yeah.
from some sort of like a minimally conscious state or whatever.
Hmm.
I know that one way, have we talked about sternal rubs on this?
No.
Oh, okay.
What the hell is that?
I think I was listening to a different podcast. Where they were talking about it. It's a thing that like if someone like will not wake up, one thing that they'll do in a medical setting. I'm not suggesting you should do this unsupervised. I don't know
When
whether or
I
not that's a
try
good
it,
idea,
I'll make
but
sure someone's watching me.
yeah. If you press down and rub the person's sternum really, really hard.
Why?
Oh,
Why?
right.
Does it get to their heart? What does it do?
No, it just hurts real bad.
Well, couldn't I just like poke him with a knife or something then?
This
Oh,
is
but
less damaging though than
mm.
being stabbed.
Poke him with a knife, aka stab. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fair. Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah.
Ugh.
So sternal rubs are a thing that they'll sometimes do to like see if they can rouse the person. So like someone who is asleep or
Ugh.
just kind of temporarily knocked out should respond to that.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
like a kind of thing. So like if they're not responding to that, that's real bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
We didn't try that.
Yeah. Next time.
Also, I just like the idea that you might confuse our own podcast with other ones that you listen to. You're going to be like, was it us talking about this house in London where this ghost had no face? Was that our aunt or relative?
Grandmother?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Listen to Ghost Story. It's
Oh
really
my God. Yeah. We got to
yeah.
talk. I'm all caught up now. There's only one episode left.
Wait, episode 7 is the last one?
Yes. At the end of episode 6, they said in our final episode, and I said no out loud.
Oh no. I have like 5 minutes left of
thoughts.
episode 6.
Okay. Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
The podcast I'm thinking of was The Opportunist, which is also very good. Talks about like scam artists and people that, take advantage of
Interesting.
opportunists.
Oh, that sounds good.
So Scully does not want to live in that condition.
Okay.
So he comes back in the room and someone is dangling a crystal over her.
Oh my God, Melissa. There we go.
And she says, I've been told not to call you Fox. And he says, by who? And she says, Dana, just now. And it's Melissa, Scully's sister.
I
So
don't especially remember liking Melissa at the time. I don't think I had an issue with her, but I didn't
no,
like her. I think I'd like her even less today.
yeah, yeah, same.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um, so we see Scully sitting in a rowboat, kind of like the
right.
rowboat is tethered to a pier,
Yes.
and she's looking
Yes.
back at Mulder and Melissa talking.
Yes.
And Melissa says that his fear is blocking any positive emotions she could feel from him. Um, and
I
that's
think it's like really asking too much to be like, don't, how dare you be afraid right now? That's causing a lot of problems that your fear is like, of course he's
yeah,
afraid. Scully's in a coma.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's all sorts of toxic positivity nonsense in the world.
Yes.
I mean, you know, um, and I'm very against it. I'm very anti. What's up? You look confused.
I got a text from my coworker Gokul that I was
Oh,
just talking about.
about your hair?
It's not, I honestly looked because I was like, if it's about my hair, I can update everyone. No, it can't be meant for me, but I don't understand how it'd be meant for anyone. It's the MSNBC logo. That's it. Oh, and then it says thanks. I gotta think it's not meant for me. Yeah, but why? Anyway, sorry, continue on. So
Thanks, MSNBC.
yeah.
That's real funny.
Mhm.
Um, so okay, so Mulder's at home then, and he puts an X in tape on his window.
Is this the first time we see him do that?
Yes, and he
Okay.
falls asleep. And then the next morning he gets up and he gets a newspaper because remember, X has left things in newspapers for him.
Yeah. And just for anyone keeping track at home, this makes 4 episodes in a row that Helen has seen X and 0 episodes that I have. So just so we're keeping track. It's also kind of interesting that the writers were doing like clearly doing an every other episode X
Yeah,
thing, which I had no idea watching
that's
it
true.
in sequence. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
So he gets a newspaper and looks through it, but there's nothing. And so he's angry and rips the X off of the window.
Okay.
So we see Fro Hickey from the Lone Gunman
Oh yeah.
show up at the hospital in a suit with flowers, and Mulder's
Yeah.
already there.
Yeah.
And Fro Hickey sneaks out her charts, Scully's charts, and they go to the Lone Gunman's place to like look over her medical charts.
Yeah.
And apparently, she has buyer's reports that she has abnormal protein chains in the blood, the amino acid sequences he's never seen before, and that he sent them to the newest Lone Gunman, a hacker, who thinks that the proteins are coming from branched DNA, the biological equivalent of a microchip, and that this could be a tracking system. But it is inactive at the moment. It's a waste product and is acting as a biological poison for her system. And I'm going to go over a lot of this, but
Great, because I was like,
Yeah.
those sure are words.
Yep. Her immune system has been decimated. And so he doubts even a healthy human body could fight that.
Okay, can I raise
Okay.
my first question?
Yes, please.
If her immune system has been decimated, why would they say she's totally fine except for the coma? Wouldn't she be in much worse straits if her immune system was all messed up? Or maybe
yeah.
because it's a sterile hospital environment, maybe she's just okay at the moment.
Right. I don't know what the like typical state of coma does to a person's immune system. Like I don't
Yeah.
I don't that's a very valid point.
Okay, but it's
Valid
also
point.
maybe what I'm hanging on to is that because immune
Right.
system was one of the few words I recognized.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So there's some things. There's some things. So they're saying, I believe, that there is some branched DNA, and coming from this branched DNA are proteins that have never been seen before.
Okay.
Okay.
Should I know what branched DNA is?
No,
Good.
you shouldn't. Because branching DNA, like branched DNA, is as far as I'm aware, and as far as a quick Google search showed me, branch DNA is like an assay that people can do. So like you can, instead of doing like PCR, polymerase
Mhm.
chain reaction, or something similar to get large amounts of DNA from a smaller sample, you can use
Mhm.
branch DNA, which is when like you separate the DNA, but not entirely, and then new strands of DNA form along
Oh,
where it's
okay.
been separated.
Like a branch. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
Um, and so, I mean, so if we have a situation like that, it's not acting as a tracking system. I feel like I probably don't need to say that, but I will.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
like, what would that mean? Like, I can't even wrap my head around that,
no,
I guess. Yeah.
no, and you shouldn't be able to because
Okay.
it's
All right.
nonsense. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. And so this would not be a sort of biological poison either, unless she has been given some sort of mRNA that was making poisonous proteins in her body or something.
Is that possible since it's new proteins?
Theoretically,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
But
like,
like theoretically, talking like 2023, theoretically.
okay, gotcha. Well,
Yeah,
these are aliens, so maybe they are.
maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's all I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So we're back to Scully on the boat, and Nurse Owens is a nurse there who says her name is Nurse Owens and is talking to her and saying that she's there
Oh,
to,
I remember Nurse Owens. I didn't know her name, but yeah, I remember her now.
yeah, and saying that she's there to watch over her and that she can't leave yet, like telling
Okay.
Scully she can't leave yet.
Yeah.
She kind of looks like Kathy Bates in Misery, which I found interesting.
That's
Um,
unsettling.
yeah, not the sort of vibe you want in a
No.
nurse.
No.
So then a different nurse comes in, and Nurse Owens leaves. And the nurse is coming in to do a blood draw.
Oh, and
And
this is back in real world now,
right,
not in boat
Nurse Owens
world.
was in real world too. So it showed her in boat world at first. And then it
Got
showed
it.
her like leaning over Scully's bed. And it
Okay.
also showed her like kiss Scully's forehead as she was leaving.
Ooh.
And Mulder
Can
sees this and doesn't think like, wow, that's really weird behavior in a nurse.
I really have a problem with extra touching from medical professionals,
Huh,
obviously in bad ways. Obviously, that's not what
right.
I'm
But
even talking
what
about. I was at the dentist yesterday, and the
uh-huh.
dental hygienist would like put her hand on my shoulder, not like to
Hmm,
tap my shoulder to get my attention, but just like while talking, like I
huh,
might do to you if I was being emphatic about something because you're my sister.
huh.
I met this woman for the first time. I don't want her touching my shoulder. I'm already lying flat on a dental chair with my mouth open.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I just like, don't touch me.
Huh.
And then she had to do an x-ray. I have to get a crown. Ugh.
Oh,
And it's okay. I'm in no position to complain to you. And
oh,
also, at least it's not a laser drill with metal aliens, whatever.
that's true.
Um, but I didn't really feel at risk of that. But so she had to do an x-ray of the tooth that's going to get the crown, and it kind of hurt because like the plastic was pushing into my
Oh,
gums, and I was like, oh. And she's
yeah.
like, yeah, I know it's not comfortable. Here, hopefully we got it. And so while she was looking to check the x-ray to make sure it worked, she put her hand over my mouth, like
What?
that. Like yes.
While the X-ray
It was
in
it
there?
was out of my mouth, and she was looking at the x-ray picture. So she takes the little x-ray guy out of my mouth and then goes to look at the picture while covering my mouth.
That's real weird.
I did not like it. I
You
was
should
and oh,
call.
she also, to indicate I needed to close my mouth, and maybe it was around the straw or something, I don't
Mhm.
remember. She like kind of squeezed my lips together.
Hmm.
I didn't like that either.
Hmm.
Don't touch my mouth. Don't touch me any more than is absolutely required.
I mean, she's gonna have to touch your mouth. So
Right.
don't touch my mouth but yes,
Yes, don't,
yeah,
well, like, no,
extraneously.
she's gonna have to touch the inside of my mouth. She doesn't have to touch my
True.
lips,
Yeah, no, I would call that's weird. I
It
would,
was weird. She said
yeah.
she was a temp and she's like, so we're just gonna
Oh,
do like the basic x-rays and not the full set.
huh.
And then it ended up showing that I need some work done.
Hmm.
I did not care for her. Also,
Yeah.
I have a cavity and she was like, sugar. And
Oh,
actually what it is that a very old filling from like my childhood is breaking down. And a cavity formed
this is why
inside
people
there.
don't like going to the dentist.
Right?
This is why.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I just feel
Yeah.
like
Call and
the part.
complain. Absolutely call and complain.
Thank you. You're so
Yeah.
right.
No, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
I just want to
No.
be like, I don't like her. She was
Yeah.
weird. Just so you know, I
Yeah.
don't ever want to go back and have her be my
Yeah.
hygienist again.
And
Because I like my dentist. She's fine, but I
yeah,
see her for all of 2 minutes,
right. I have had an extraordinary amount of dental work done this year due to
Yeah.
falling and busting my mouth open. And so I feel like I have had a lot of experiences with dentists lately. And so I feel even more comfortable telling you to call and complain because like, no, that's all real weird. And
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, just
no.
like you got to be aware that like like the power differential already
Yeah.
when you're like got scrapey
Yes.
tools in someone's mouth while they're laying on their back
Yep.
is such that you don't need to like you shouldn't be being
Yeah.
all weird.
I mean, I don't even want the person who usually gets me coffee at the place downtown to call me hun 1,000 times. Like, so I
Yeah,
don't.
one time a retired colleague's wife, I talked to her, I probably complained about this. I was at like a department party or something, and a retired colleague was there and his wife was there, and I was in a tank top, and she like pushed my bra strap so it wasn't showing and was like there. And
Oh,
like I just felt like, don't touch my shoulder, don't touch my bra.
no.
Maybe this I was fine with this. It's a tank
Again,
top.
it's
I don't
like
care.
it's a
Just
familiar thing. Like if it was
yes.
like someone I knew really well, who actually no, pushing my bra
No.
strap up, like I was thinking because I saw a colleague at a formal event for my work recently, and her dress was unzipped at the top, so there were
Yeah.
like several inches wear.
Yeah.
And I went up and like kind of started to and was like, oh, so and so,
Yeah.
I know this person super well, and that's like an obvious thing. Like a bra strap falling down is like,
And to be clear, it wasn't falling down. It just wasn't lined up with my tank top strap so you could see
weird.
it. It was just
Yeah.
like, what it struck me as was somebody old fashioned who thought no one should ever know that I wear a bra. And the fact that the bra strap is showing is deeply embarrassing. And again, I just felt like, don't touch my shoulder. This is the first time I've met you.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's super weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I feel like fixing a tag or something like that, which is like a similar sort of move, is just different. And like, I still wouldn't do it to a stranger or a woman I just met, but I might say, oh, your tag is showing if you care.
I can't possibly imagine touching someone's bra strap that I just met. That's insane.
No, it is insane. Yeah. I just want to be like, you know what? Like, hey, don't touch me. Don't touch me. That's my motto.
Yeah.
To all these people. Or if you got to like poke inside my mouth with tools,
right.
Leave it at that. Don't do a little closey lip thing or touch my shoulder. My shoulder is not involved. Yeah. Also, I eat very similarly to Adam, and he never gets cavities, and I always do. And we brush our teeth about the same amount.
Oh, you know what? I actually have something to say about this as well. That is related both to what you're saying and to science, which is
perfect.
Cool. More and more studies are showing that the amount of cavities that we get is one, largely genetic, and two, partially contributed by like the amount, this sounds so weird, the amount of spit that we're sharing with our mothers when we're little. So
what?
Yeah. Okay. So there are some people that just like don't.
I gotta hope I didn't share too much spit with anyone.
You absolutely did. Like, like sharing drinks and stuff, like taking a sip, like not in a weird way, but just like, so there are people that just like straight up don't get cavities.
Okay.
And people recommend to those people, research recommends that those people like make sure to share drinks with their kids early on, so that they're getting the same beneficial oral microbiome that their mother has in order to help them develop an oral microbiome that is beneficial to them. So the idea of sure, you don't want to eat sugar and then not brush your teeth before bed or something, because the bacteria are gonna feed off of it.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculously simplistic to say too much sugar, because no, there's a huge genetic and bacterial component to this.
I knew there was some sort of genetic component, so I brought it up in front of the doctor, to the doctor in front of the hygienist, just to be make a point. So
yeah.
I didn't know about all that other stuff. Does it have to be the mother? Could it be anyone? Could it be the father?
I have only heard maternal, but
interesting.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a good question.
Anyway, I think we've all learned something about boundaries and teeth.
Yeah. And boundaries around teeth.
I don't like that Nurse Owens kissed Scully on the forehead.
No,
I know that in the plot of the episode, she's supposed to be very caring.
Yeah.
But my thought is, don't fucking kiss me on the forehead, no matter how mystical you are.
Now, in a nurse, maybe, and you're real sick, maybe a shoulder squeeze could be appropriate.
That seems okay. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mulder comes in and sees this.
Yes.
Okay. And Nurse Owens leaves. Different nurse comes in to take Scully's blood. And while she's doing that, Mulder kind of backs up to give her some space a little bit, and sees a guy in a suit standing behind the curtain, separating Scully's bed from someone else.
Oh my God. Oh, how creepy.
And so then a moment later, the woman who was behind that curtain, the woman next to Scully in the hospital, starts crashing. And so the nurse runs to help. And before this, it had showed that the nurse put the vial of Scully's blood on the table next to her when it happened, because she had been in the middle of drawing the blood. And when Mulder looks back from the woman crashing, the blood is gone.
Oh my God. So that dude in the suit clearly made this other woman crash and then stole Scully's blood.
Yes.
Okay.
And
he's a human man, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Mulder immediately runs out to try to find the guy who was standing there. The guy who was standing there kind of looks like Willem Dafoe.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a huge chase through the hospital. They're running, there's, basement things, and it's poorly lit. And X intercepts Mulder with a gun and is pointing a gun at him and tells him to stop searching for that guy and for the people that did this to her.
What?
And he says, you got her killed, you got him killed. That's not going to happen to me.
Wait, who's the her in that sentence?
Scully.
Oh, but she's not dead.
Well, but it's assumed that that's where this is heading. Where her.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay.
And him being deep throat.
Right. Yeah.
And he says something very cryptic, I used to be where you are, to Mulder. I used to.
Oh.
Yeah. So Mulder, X gets distracted by something. Mulder ducks away and runs after the guy again. And the Willem Dafoe looking guy shoots at Mulder. But Mulder eventually holds him at gunpoint, and there's a lot of back and forth. There's people beating each other up. There's someone holding someone at gunpoint. Eventually the guy is beating Mulder up, and X intercepts him to save Mulder and beats the guy up, and then shoots the Willem Dafoe guy. X does.
Dead?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep. And says some cryptic things about, I can't remember. I didn't write it down. It was all very dramatic. So we see then Mulder with Scully's family, and the doctor is advocating for taking her off of the life support.
Okay.
And Mulder says, is it possible that this branch DNA could be treated with antibiotics? Which I'm just going to skip over the fact that the whole treating DNA with antibiotics thing, because I've got a meeting soon. So
I mean, that's clearly nonsense even to me.
Yeah.
Antibiotics are for bacteria.
Yep. Yeah. You got it. And the doctor says he doesn't know how Mulder came up with this bizarre diagnosis. Fair. And this was I remember watching the X-Files and feeling very much like, but don't you see, Mulder and Scully, they only know the truth. And now I feel like, well, yeah, of course he's treating him like he's crazy. He's acting like he's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think that's because we've become the man. I don't feel like the man. I feel like we're just sensible scientist type people.
Yes. Yeah. Grown-ups.
Grown-ups. Yes. Yeah. We're grown-ups.
Yeah. So Melissa says that, so Mulder is advocating essentially don't take her off the life support,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Melissa says that she's dying and that's perfectly natural. And that, as humans, we, fear death too much. And as a society, which is all I would argue is true. And that's maybe an episode, a topic for a different episode. And that it's prolonging it, that would be unnatural. And Scully's mom says, kind of breaks things up and is like, well, Dana made the decision for them. Like she has a living will.
God. I mean, that's true. Yeah.
Right. So then we see Scully in the boat and the rope holding her to the shore breaks. And so the boat kind of drifts.
Yeah.
So then we see cigarette smoking man in Skinner's office.
Oh, okay.
And hands him some files to read and says, it's all there. And he starts to light up. And Skinner kind of goes like, and points to a new non-smoking sign on his desk.
That is awesome. I remember that image. That's fantastic.
I didn't, but it was great.
That's great.
But, he starts smoking anyway. He doesn't care.
Oh.
And Mulder comes in right after he leaves.
Okay.
And Skinner says he called them in to talk about the incident with the person being shot in the laundry room at the hospital.
Okay.
And Mulder says, that's what happened. Cancer man. He's who happened to Scully.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first time that they directly talk about cigarette smoking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And reference him as Cancer man. And
it's interesting because I was just thinking this morning, I always think of him as Cancer man.
Yeah. Same.
And I was like, where did I get that from? And okay, I got it from Mulder. So
right.
Fair. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So Mulder starts demanding to get access to him, to cigarette smoking man.
Okay, yeah.
And Skinner says that, he likes Scully, he respected her, but that she knew the risks of her profession and that he's not the mafia and isn't going to give Mulder his address for some sort of vigilante justice.
Gotcha.
Which, I feel like very fair, Skinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mulder says, what if I knew the risks, but never told her? And Skinner says, not being super, comforting, says, then you're as much to blame as the Cancer man. All right.
God. Come on, man.
Yeah. He's not though.
No, he's not.
No. Now I need to drop. I do have a meeting in 5 minutes and then I watch you go to a doctor's appointment. And so I don't know what to do.
All right. Could we do a speed round 5 minutes? Or no?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it real fast. Let's see how fast I can wrap this up.
Speed round. And we'll include all of this so people know what's happening. Here we go.
All right. Scully's in a white dress on a table and her boobs look huge because she was just pregnant and it's real impressive. And it made me think of when I had pregnancy boobs.
I remember those boobs.
Skinner, no, not Skinner. Nope. That's too fast. Mulder finds, a pack of cigarettes and there's a note inside with an address. Goes to the address and holds cigarette smoking man at gunpoint. And he says, don't threaten me, Mulder. I've watched presidents die.
And we know he has. We see it later.
There's some back and forth. Then, I like you, why her and not me? I like her. I like you too, but that's why she was returned to you. He says, he's in the game because he believes what he's doing is right. And Mulder asks who he is to decide what is right. And cigarette smoking man says that, who is he to think that things are right? And Mulder puts his finger off the trigger and cigarette smoking man says, that's why I'll win. And so Mulder hands in his resignation letter. He's going to quit. And Skinner comes to his office and he rips up the resignation letter. And he tells Mulder this really awful story about being 18 and enlisting in Vietnam and going there because he thought it was the right thing to do, and having to kill a 10-year-old North Vietnamese boy who
Jesus
was covered in
Christ.
grenades. Yeah, because he walked into camp covered in grenades, and how he lost faith in everything. And then he basically died, and he was put in a body bag, Skinner was, but then someone found a pulse and saved him, and he said he's afraid to look beyond that experience, but Mulder isn't. And so Mulder's resignation is unacceptable. And Mulder realizes that Skinner is the one to give him Cancer Man's location.
Oh!
So, X tells Mulder that people are going to break into his apartment. I have to go faster. And that Mulder is going to pretend to get on a plane, but he's actually going to be waiting for them in his apartment. And X says to defend yourself with terminal intensity. And so Mulder's waiting in his apartment with a gun on the table, and there's a knock on the door, but it's actually Melissa. And she says, "Why is it so dark in here?" And he says, "Because the lights aren't on." And she seems annoyed, which is really suitable to that sort of response to that.
Yes. Yeah. This is like the end of Clue.
And Melissa says that Scully is weakening and won't be too much longer, and she thinks that Mulder will want to come see her, but he says he can't. And she's like, "What? Don't be stupid."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, I can't." But he does. He goes to the hospital to see her, and he comes home the next morning, and his apartment is trashed. And he slides to the floor, and he starts crying, and it's very sad and moving.
Oh, that's so sad.
About Scully and not about the apartment.
Yes.
But I'd be sad too. Scully wakes up. Mulder gets a phone call at the hospital, and he rushes to the hospital, and her mom and sister are already there. And she says she doesn't remember anything. And he brought her Superstars of the Super Bowl tape. And she said, "Mulder, I had the strength of your beliefs." And he gives her back her necklace. And later she's in the hospital bed and she's wearing her necklace, and the nurse comes in, and Scully asks to speak to Nurse Owens, that she has something she wants to give her, presumably the necklace. And the nurse says that she's worked there for 10 years and there's no Nurse Owens.
Da, 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 da. She did it.
I did it. I got it.
You did it. All right. Have a good meeting.
Firestarter up next.
Firestarter up next. I'm sure X won't be in it.
Yep.
All right.
TBD.
All right.